Guide your juniors. Two reasons. Okay, we keep on talking about this all the time, so we are always discounted. Okay, but when you talk about the same things, they associate with you better. Two reasons again for that. One is the age factor. Listening to someone who's just a couple of years senior in the same language with whom they can associate is going to be much more easier. And secondly, you have achieved it. Even if I have achieved something that was ages ago. Okay, so that association factor is something which is to a great advantage, and you have gone through it this year. Not only that, you have gone through the worst time. Your batch and the previous one, you have had the worst of the time. School did not happen. Exam hoga ki nahi hoga, no one knows. And when will it happen? Okay, exam will happen, but when? So how did you face these challenges? If you can guide your juniors, it will be great. Okay, so to me, that is the basic thing which I would want to focus on.
Thank you, sir. Kind words. And as I said, we are the side players in today's story. But I have probably somebody who's been a mentor to all these students here. So Animesh, sir, can you join in and give a few remarks at least?
It's great to see all your happy faces. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. And it is an opportunity for me to congratulate all of you personally, right? And while you tell these stories, as Gautam sir also pointed out, it's a very important part of knowledge transfer where you guide your juniors and all, right? Don't hold things back, okay? Tell them the good, the bad, and the ugly, okay? Because I'm personally familiar with your journeys to a certain degree. I will also ask some of you, especially those who took a drop here, or those who thought or second guess their decision to do law, or those who face that surmount of GK, right? Like just a mountain of GK and how to navigate through that, right? Just tell them about all of that, and then we will take it further, right? So I would just ask every one of you to make 1 point each relating to your prep, and I think we can just keep moving forward in that direction, right? So please go for it.
All right, I would say that my journey was most probably about consistency. That I would say would be probably the biggest thing that helped me reach my goal, getting admission into NLS. So, I know you'll get demotivated at times, you'll second guess yourself. But the thing is, you need to believe in yourself and consistently work. That is the most important thing for sure. I was struggling with GK initially, and that was my weakest point. So I reached out to my teachers for help, and Animesh sir only recommended that I start writing notes daily. So every morning I would wake up, I would read the newspaper, and I would prepare notes from those headlines and the points therein. And those notes really helped me in my final exam, I would say. They were very important. So yeah, consistently working every single day on your weakest points, and also reaching out to your seniors or your teachers whenever you need help. I would say that would be very important in your journey of achieving your goal.
Right. Thank you for that, Akshat. And I will, of course, keep coming back to you. Tell them how many notebooks you ended up with by the end of it.
I finished one notebook completely and some portion of another one.
Right. So it's a painful process, but it's ultimately a very rewarding process. Yes, this kind of note making. Okay. Thank you for that, Akshat. And I'll come back to you for more points. Panchami.
So in my prep, I think mostly when I started preparing, I think what drove me was consistency. Obviously, I prepared every single day. There wasn't a single day where I thought I shouldn't prepare or I just was laid back or something like that. But I always, I think seeing the bigger picture is a very big motivation. When you see the bigger picture, what kind of an advocate you want to be, and then you immediately know that you want to be in a good law school to facilitate that. So that's a big motivation. And I also made a lot of GK notes. I think that I did regularly. And most importantly, I think is falling in love with what you're doing. Like if you don't love what you're doing, or if you treat it like a task, then it becomes difficult to prepare for 2 years. It's not like a one test or something like that you prepare and then you just forget about it. So you have to start loving what you're doing. Like I think GK is pretty fun. You have to start understanding what you're doing rather than just reading it for the sake of, "Oh, I may get a question from this." So that time I think it's pretty easy and fun, and you don't feel it like you're preparing for a competitive exam. But I think on the day of exam, I panicked a little bit. So I would just like to say to my juniors the same thing, that there are times when you may have like a very nice preparation, but you also have to be prepared for things that you don't see coming in the paper or in the exam hall, and just believe in yourself that you can do it. So that's the biggest thing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Thank you so much for that, Panchami. Let's go to Rakshit.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rakshit. So my preparation was pretty much, I would call it one with highs and lows. My mock scores were as low as 67. At times they were as high as 120. I didn't have a proper mock strategy until my probably 12th mock. I didn't have proper GPS sources until probably February. But I think staying calm during the entire period of 2 years, 1 year, or 6 months will really help. Because I think even during the exam, like as Panchami pointed out, there was that tension. And in fact, for me, I marked 2 of my answers wrong on the OMR, and I knew them because they were from math, and that's my strong section. But I think like refocusing back on the entire paper and staying calm throughout the process really helped me attempt more, because I don't think stressing about it at all is really going to work. Or like stress is good up to a certain level, which drives you forward. Beyond a certain level, it's just demoralizing. So I think whether you're scoring low or high, I think just keep calm. I think everything will work out in the end.
Right. Yeah, so very important point, and thank you for that, Rakshit. Can you also share with us, like, how exactly you transitioned from the low phase to the high phase? Like, what all did you change to go to the next part and be consistent?
So I think Rishabh is right here, and
yeah,
we two were classmates. So I used to speak to him. Swagat, also one of my classmates, and then I slowly got an idea of what they are doing, what I should be doing. Then I tried different things. So I attempted legal ones first, then I tried English ones first. Then finally I got a good score with one particular order. I stuck to that, and that continued ever till CLAT.
Okay, right. So keeping a check with your peer group is really helpful, right? Maybe it's like a wake-up call at times, like what others are doing, what's working, what's not working. Okay, thank you for that. I'll just come to Rishabh then. Yes.
Good evening, sir. Right. For me, I enrolled in the 2-year program, but my 11th grade, I didn't really prepare. I just attended classes. And then after like 80% of the year was over, I asked like my center head, like, do we have to go home and prepare? So it was like that. But other than that, like I started really preparing after the pandemic hit. So that was a big thing. And yeah, obviously I started off with low scores. I started off with like a 75, and then I slowly kept improving. You hit a wall when your GK is low. So then you analyze, and then you see that GK is the reason you're not getting 100, 110. Then you improve your GK. Like GK doesn't improve in 1 or 2 days. It takes a long time. It takes like 6 months of notes. So at the end of preparation, I had like 10 books of GK. So yeah, so like you reach 110, and then so what happened to me, the way my mocks were, I started off low, I peaked at like 127 something, and then I started dropping again. And then something I didn't do was I didn't look at the trend. That's what I did later, like 2 weeks before my CLAT exam. So this is something I tell most people to do. Keep a mock analysis book so you can see what the trends are like and what mistakes you're making in each section. So I realized English and logic, which were my strong sections, I was doing badly in because of a variety of factors. There were certain things I changed when the paper moved offline, and that wasn't working for me. So I realized this only after I looked at like 5 mocks in a row and I saw the drop, and then I changed my strategy, and then it worked well for me. What I'd say is, yeah, have a peer group. So me, Tarun, Swagat, Rakshit were always constantly in touch because we're classmates and all that. So that helped a lot. We'd analyze mocks together, especially me and Tarun. We'd get on call and analyze. Or I'd ask him, how do you do this? How do you do that? And I was bad at math. So I worked on it a little. It didn't really get me far, but like still, it worked well enough in the exam for what I wanted. I like Panchami said she like never took a break. That was not the way I worked. So there were many days that I like really messed up. Like I just watch a movie or just waste time with anime or whatever. And then I'd feel like, oh my God, I tell Tarun, I'm like, man, I didn't study for like 2 days in a row now. And then he'd say, it's okay, just start studying now. So like that's the thing, right? Like when you have 1 or 2 bad days, just remember that you need like 7 more good days to make up for it. Other than that, don't be too hard on yourself. Don't have just one goal like endless IU. I never had that goal. I just prepared like just to prepare. I mean, yeah, I wanted to go to a good law school, but like I wasn't so focused on it. Other than that, being calm during the exam really helped me because like that was probably the reason I did well. One of the main reasons I did well was being super calm. I didn't prepare the evening before the exam, I stopped preparing. And then after that, I was just like totally calm. So that helped a lot. Yeah.
Right. Thank you for that, Rishabh. A lot of very important points. I would just want you to elaborate a bit on your GK prep because you put in a lot of effort there. And at one point, it was not paying off in symbiosis and all, but finally paid off in the big exam. Yes. So if you would just like to share some insight there.
Yeah. I was really into quizzing before, so I always liked GK. So the way I did GK prep was a lot of sources. So from CL, what I did was I did Manthan. Initially, I neglected 1.0 and I was only doing 2.0, but then that's a bad thing to do. Like do 1.0 also because like you saw the CLAT paper this year, they didn't only ask really important topics, they asked everything. Like not everything, but just random topics. So 1.0 and 2.0, News Canvas daily events and that events analyzed helped. Compendium and do daily events, just the important events daily. Indian Express explained the Hindu mainly editorials. I never made notes from the paper. I didn't see the merit in it. I stopped reading the paper almost, like other than the editorials, just glanced through the main topics and then read the editorials only. Other than that, I can't recall now, but like those are the main things. And make notes of almost everything you think is even slightly important is what I'd say. Yeah, and revise a lot. So revision, like at least once a week, revise. And before you write a mock, revise all your notes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. And let's just go to other people. I'll come back to you for more points. Samrita, if you can hear us.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I'm traveling, so I had to take it from the car.
Which is fine. We can hear you perfectly.
Yes,
so if you would like to share a couple of insights at least regarding your prep.
So I joined CL for the 2-year program, so in 11th. And as Rishabh said, I think the first year was pretty much just going to class and wasn't really a very serious one. We did mocks very rarely, like maybe once in 2 months, maybe. But I think post-December, when we closed and we had exams, and after 11th exams got over is when I started preparing for CLAT as such. And one thing that obviously all of us over here pointed out was the peer group. So I think a few friends that we made in the first year at CL, we were in touch. So we would make maybe like work on legal one day, or maybe give us a week's goal or something like that to keep us going. It wasn't very consistent at the beginning, but I think at the end of it, the group did become a little small, but it also kind of became more consistent for us. And I think from September of last year is when I started giving mocks a little more regularly. And I think the way my growth was by analyzing those mocks, right? So the mocks was something that I could see where I was doing well and I wasn't doing well. And I think I figured legal was a section that I was good at and I was able to score. So that was something I should work on and keep that consistency high. And as everyone else said, GK was always challenging. It was a matter of being able to tackle at least 4 of those 6 to 7 passages there. I think if you know about half of it, you start feeling a little confident. So in the mocks, that was helpful. And then after you go back to those mocks, you practice those questions as well. That was something I did for GK. Yeah, so I think in the last week, I tried doing 1 mock a day and just analyzing that mock and then just revising GK. I didn't really do much in the last week, and that's what helped me be calm in the exam as well. Some GK questions were pretty unexpected for me, but it was more of, just sticking to the pattern that I had figured, that if I didn't know a question, how many I would risk or as such, basically.
Right. Thank you, Samrita. Thank you for that. And trust me, it was unexpected for a lot of us. Like, a lot of us were surprised in the GK section. But as I believe, like, you guys were prepared for a much higher level paper, right? So in case they would have asked you more details, you were ready for it. As I said, paper would be same for everyone. So your strategy really matters, right? Some very important points. Thank you there. Let's come to Nivedita. Hi, Nivedita. Can you hear us?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, if you can share your insights as well, please.
Yes, sir. So I actually joined CL in 2019 for a 1-year program. So I wrote CLAT in 2020. And then I got into NUJS, but I wanted to write CLAT again because of various factors. The most important being the fact that I felt I hadn't given my best during CLAT 2020. One of the main reasons was that I think I panicked a lot on the day of the test in 2020, right? So like this, it was a pretty difficult year for a lot of us at that time because, everything was shut. We didn't have a lot of contact with our teachers or anything. We were getting only becoming introduced to the whole digital education thing. And it was kind of difficult for us to really, at least for me, to perform my level best. So again, I decided to give CLAT again this year, and it worked out well, I would say. So the main thing is that you should really be calm on the day you write the exam, right? And I can see that in my own performance, the way I did in last year. Last year, I studied for like months together, but eventually I didn't get a rank that I expected, right? But this year I was calm, I was confident, and I felt that I really enjoyed the whole exam taking process, right? So the one thing that we need to keep in mind is that while taking the exam, you must be happy and you must think about how all your preparation, you're finally going to it's all coming to an end, right? It's a culmination of an entire process. So I think that's the most important thing. And as the others say, consistency again, especially in terms of GK. So like from CLAT 2020 to about 2 weeks before CLAT 2021, I didn't do any kind of preparation except GK. And at that point, what is very important in terms of GK is that you really need to go back and revise. Like Rishabh said, I had pretty much the similar sources, especially Indian Express Explained, which is a very critical source for me, in my opinion, because it really consolidates everything into a very readable, around 400-word thing. So that was obviously like very important. And the second thing that I would suggest in terms of reading would be things like SCC online blog and things like that. Now, because I was already in law school, I was introduced to a lot of this legal jargon, as we call it, that of course helped while taking the legal reasoning part of the exam. But even if you're not in a law school or anything of that sort, I would suggest you go back and read these sort of outlets, not the legal news that is featured in like mainstream media, but things like Live Law, Bar and Bench, SCC online blog, which is really helpful for you to familiarize yourself and like think as a lawyer, which is essentially what CLAT is doing, right? It's testing your aptitude, whether you're suitable for the law. So once you begin to get used to this sort of knowledge, I think it will really give you an edge during the exams.
Right. Thank you, Nivedita, for some very important points. And I'm going to come back to you for more details because a lot
Animesh,
of people have this question.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah.
Just a word, Animesh. Yeah.
Sure.
So I think extremely creditable I found when I first interacted with Nivedita right after the results. So it is so easy for somebody to sort of, convince ourselves that, look, NUJS is like almost as good and, it's number 2, number 3. So, why do I put in that extra, even if I get through, I still have to put in that extra year. And why do I have to go through this CLAT thing? It's so easy to settle. I think that is one thing that I found very inspiring, that, look, she wanted something and she didn't want to settle for anything, even if it is like close second. I think that's a pretty good thing. That's something a lot of students who are listening, watching today can take, saying that, look, it's so tempting to settle. Arey, chalo, Christ mil gaya, symbiosis mil gaya. It's so easy. Okay, it's still law. It's still the same. It's almost as good. No, don't settle for almost. I think that's a message that I probably want to re-emphasize.
Right. Thank you so much for that, sir. And it's a very important point. In fact, I'll come back to you for that because a lot of students have this question, Nivedita, as to how can you balance law school with CLAT prep and all of that. Let's come to you, Tarun.
Hi, sir. Good evening. I think lots of important things have been mentioned today. Lots of recurring themes, important advice, tips for all the aspirants. I think if I have to add value in any way, I would definitely say just start, in the sense that don't think about getting a perfect strategy in the first instance. Don't try to figure out what the best way to go about it is in the first month or in the first week. I would say get used to it, get familiar with the pattern, get familiar with the various types of questions that are being asked, how mock analysis works, how you're supposed to mock. Try to start and then sort of build up gradually, especially if you're taking a 2-year program. That is, you're starting in 11th and then writing CLAT in your 12th grade, obviously. So I think it's important that you get your foundations right, especially in maths, other things like legal, your basic concepts, stuff like that. And secondly, I think it's very, very important, very key for all aspirants to read. I think you should easily read for at least half an hour a day, if not more. And read anything, read any topic, any author, any type of book. It can be a newspaper, it can be a journal, it can be a blog. But I would say read, because the entire CLAT paper new pattern is centered around reading, be it the English section, legal section, or logical reasoning, and sometimes even the GK section where you need to glance through the passage. It's all extremely reading oriented. I think that's one very key aspect of it. The ability to process lots of information in a small period of time, because as we know, it's only 120 minutes and you get 150 questions. And obviously the passages need to be read thoroughly and in depth, especially for sections like legal. And I think apart from that, it's like lots of people on this call said, it's important to be consistent. It's important to be patient and just enjoy the process, like Gautam sir said as well. And so I think to sum it up, it is definitely a journey. It's a journey of 2 years or 1 year, as you choose, or for some other people maybe 3 years if you're dropping. But it's definitely a journey in which you need to go sort of incrementally. You need to improve incrementally, step by step. Improve your GK section from 16 to 20 to 24 to 30, which is sort of what happened to me when I took GK. Improve your legal section from 20 to 30 to 35. Use your mentors. I used Animesh. When I had doubts, I would contact him and get my doubts answered. And I had my friends as well, Rishabh and Swagat, and there we used each other and sort of bounced ideas off, bounced questions off, and figured things out. So I think that's about it. I don't have much else to say, and I think just start and try to be sort of incrementally and gradually better, and hopefully and you should succeed that way.
Thank you, Tarun. How many hours per day does it take? Okay, so quick answers. Whoever wants to take it.
I'll just say how many I studied. 7 hours in like for my 12th grade, 7 hours. I'd say don't overexert yourself. Figure out how many hours you can do. I tried doing 11 hours or 12 hours before, like 11 hours, because I saw toppers saying they do 12 hours before the, like, so 2 weeks before the exam. It didn't work for me because I was waking up at 5 and then it really messed up my mock timing. So I was feeling sleepy at 2 to 4, which you can't have, right? So 7 hours for me. I mean, but remember that it's not exactly like an hour thing. You have to figure out, okay, I have these many things to do. How much time will it take for me to do it? So it's individual really, but yeah.
So I actually wrote CLAT in 2020 as well. And I started preparing when I was in 11th grade. So after COVID hit and, we were at home, it kind of, also maybe I didn't interact with like a lot of people later on. So I didn't know the right sources for GK. And my CLAT 2020 paper, I messed it up. Like I was nervous and I was stressed about it. I was stressed what will I get? And also it was very late. It was around in September. So I didn't have any private backup as well at that time. So I decided to write again because, again, like as Nivedita also said, she felt like she didn't give her best. So I felt the same and I thought, it's a few 7-8 months. So I should do it again. So one thing that really helped me was short and long-term planning. Every day I would, after waking up and reading my newspaper, I would write down what I need to do for that day and with like boxes. So when I'm done with those things, I would just tick them. It would make me feel like I accomplished something and actually, put an effort for a long-term goal. So I also made long-term goals, like at the end of the month, I should be done with these math topics, these reasoning topics. And I think consistency is like the key. It really keeps you going, and you gotta stay calm. You have to believe in yourself. And I think one thing that really helped me was that every time, okay, I had these thoughts that, the main exam is of 2 hours. What if I prepare well now and I mess up those 2 hours? I think that's something a lot of people have. But what I thought after that was, I'm going to work so hard that I'm not going to mess up those 2 hours. So it's just a cycle for me. Like if I do well, I'm going to get this. So I am going to get this. So it kept me working. And yeah, and just focus on, for me, I didn't really focus on how many hours I studied. I ended up studying a lot, around 6 hours initially, because I didn't attend a college. I was on a drop. So 6 hours initially, it went up to 12 to 13 hours as well towards the end. But I didn't really focus on the number of hours, but I would focus on my targets. I would I have to finish this. And yeah, I would focus on what I have to finish for the day or for the week. And that helped me.
Right. I think one clarification quickly, if I can just ask, was it when people are obviously worried about that 7, 8, 9 hours kind of stuff, but was it throughout the 2 years or more on the second year or the last 6 months kind of stuff?
Oh, definitely towards the end. Earlier, actually, like a lot of the others said, in 11th grade, none of us were very serious. I mean, I feel like I should have been more serious. So for people who are in 11th grade right now, at least try to work on your basics right now, perfect them. And focusing on hours, I would say focus on the task that you're doing. Some people can do the same thing in less amount of time. Some people take a lot more time. So try to balance that. But yeah, towards the end, it's good to put in a lot of time so that you are, I think I studied towards the end also because that kept me away from other distractions. I felt like I'm studying. So towards the end, it was a lot of hours.
So yeah, I think a lot of questions on GK and GK notes. Who would like to take that? Tarun?
Yeah, so I think for me, in the beginning, obviously, I didn't really do GK as a subject. I mean, I just read the newspaper, sort of, just kept in touch with the news. But very soon I realized that that's not nearly enough. And my mock scores of, like I said, 15, 16 in GK obviously reflected that. So GK notes, I prefer to take them in one sitting and then take notes of that entire month in maybe 3 to 4 hours, or if required, split that into 2 sessions of 3 hours each or something like that, and then cover the entire month in detail. But at the same time, I would follow daily updates using, again, various websites, various sources, like Rishabh mentioned, the Indian Express, obviously a great newspaper, the Hindu. So all these I would make sure I consistently keep track of all the events, and at the end of the month I would make notes, comprehensive notes. I would use, I mean, not only physical handwritten notes but also Excel sheets and Word documents and stuff like that to sort of categorize. Maybe one could be related to border, one could be related to certain laws and amendments and stuff like that, under which I put various GK events, and then information and in-depth research or in-depth knowledge on those GK events. So notes, in the sense, it would be at the end of the month for me. That's something that I felt worked, because my mock scores slowly and gradually went up from 16 to 20 to 25 to then sometimes 28, 30. And I felt comfortable doing it that way. If you would like to take notes on a daily basis, which I know people who have done, you can do that as well. But I just felt it was better for me. And then obviously you need to revise those notes before the mocks. Like Rishabh said, before you take a mock, make sure you revise the notes maybe 2-3 months before that mock. And yeah, that was my strategy.
Again, a lot of questions on balancing board preparation with the CLAT prep. Of course, some of us this time had boards cancelled, but I'm sure you were preparing already before the cancelling this thing. Maybe Akshat, you would like to take that?
Yeah, so I would say figure out what is best for you. Like, don't overdo it. Like Rishabh said, you have to find the right balance. So like I took science in my 11th and 12th grade, which I soon find out was not really my strong subject. So I had to put in more hours there. So I was only able to do about like 1 or 2 hours of CLAT prep a day. But I mean, it depends from person to person. For me, that 1 or 2 hours was enough during the time where I was preparing for the boards. Of course, after the boards got cancelled, that time increased significantly. But even if you can put in that like 1 or 2 hours every day, that is enough, I would say. Focus on what you will like, find the right balance for you is the right main thing.
I think a lot of people impressed by the peer group that I think Rishabh, Tarun were talking about. But let me also tell you that I've spoken to each of these toppers individually. Not everybody had a peer group in that, that close kind of sense. And a lot of people were working on it individually. So anybody wants to answer how it was more individual from their side? Just to reassure, because there are people worried that I don't have a peer group, so how do I do it?
Yeah, so most of my friends online and offline, I mean, the ones who were writing CLAT with me, they all had joined a college. So I didn't exactly have a peer group as in someone very close to me. But yeah, of course, I knew people who were writing it. But I didn't really speak to anyone, as in analyzed my mocks with anyone or anything. But one thing that really helped me was most of us have our coaching groups, right? Like on Telegram and on WhatsApp. So on that, I would like send in my doubts and anybody would answer it. We also had Animesh sir on one of our legal groups, which he would answer. And I think you don't need to have 1 or 2 close friends to have a peer group. It can work with people who are in the same coaching as you. Like, I think for analyzing it was a very personal thing for me. I think Srinivasan sir suggested that thing to me and I didn't follow it earlier, but later on. So I would analyze every question as in, if there are 4 options, I would try to find out why A, C, and D is not the answer and why B is the only answer which we can get. So for me, analyzing the mocks was something I did only on my own. So I didn't really, and the only type of comparison that I had was from the ranks that we get and the percentiles. So I don't think it was very necessary for me to have like a peer group. But yeah, in other aspects, talk to your friends when you're stressed and, just interact with them because they can really calm you down and they'll tell you that it's okay. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, I will just like to make a point here. Thank you for that, Urvi. Also, when we talk about preparation in a peer group and all, see, the preparation is always an individual's task, right? It's always a solitary thing. When you study, when you prepare, then like you will probably discuss it for 15 minutes, but that's like, backed by hours of preparation. So when you are studying and when you're preparing for an exam, 90% of the work is you sitting with your textbooks and your sources and going through stuff, the hard part, right? Everything else will come one or the other way, right? Whatever you need, whatever inputs you require, you will be able to seek that. Like, once you reach that stage, if you have clarity about what you want and you start looking for it, you will find it, as some people already mentioned.
They want to know what was your first mock score in terms of total, if you remember. And that will also give a motivation, because some of them are feeling that their early mock scores are low. So that will motivate them, right? So Panchami, you would like to start? Others can just chip in and put in their number.
I think somewhere around 70.
70, okay. Samrita?
I think my first score was about 56 or 58, if I'm not wrong. And it was in the month of last April or something like that.
Okay, so Advik, that answers your question. So did somebody get a 50? Close enough, right? Rishabh, your first score, first mock?
Yeah, 675. Like, so after the pattern change, that time they made new mocks, I got like a 75.
75. Yeah. Okay.
But it's gone lower, like just, yeah.
Uravi on the chat says 67.
Yeah, mine was 67 after the pattern changed. But after CLAT 2020, I wrote a mock, which was like an old mock, which I had written when I was preparing for CLAT 2020, and I got a 120 on that. So I felt like I scammed it, but it, yeah.
Okay.
I had written it earlier.
Early 80s. Okay. Whom did we miss? Did we miss anybody?
Right. So I would just like to add a point here, which was also mentioned by some of the other students as well. Never read too much into a single mock score, right? This is something which I've told all of them individually, and I've told this multiple times in class as well, right? I think a lot of you already spoke about it, identifying patterns, right? Looking at 4 or 5 mocks in one go and seeing in which direction you are going, right? In fact, if you guys would also share your horrible surprises, right? Right before the exam, someone getting an 80 or a 90 score, or like, you are going quite well at 110, 115, and then there is like a direct slump of 20, 25 marks, right? These drastic shifts, I've always asked you in theory to ignore them. I know a lot of you came to me with percentiles. I asked you to ignore them. So can you just also like, make some points regarding that journey, like, how you accounted for the drastic drops and how you managed to keep your motivation level up even when the score is not reflecting your prep?
So can I?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so like a week or I don't even know, like 4 days or something before CLAT, I took a mock and I realized that I had like 12.5 in like logical reasoning, and it was like it was so discouraging initially. But then I felt like I realized that there was essentially a mistake in strategy that I made during that particular mock. And that was that I tried to attempt all the questions in logical reasoning, even though I wasn't quite sure of the answers. So that was obviously something that I corrected. So like, don't get discouraged if you suddenly have like a very drastic change, because it's all a part of learning, right? You know now that you're making this mistake. And always remember, it's better to make that mistake during like a practice mock rather than the actual CLAT exam. So like, I realized that I shouldn't go around attempting all the questions in logical. I should instead attempt whatever I know for sure. And obviously that increased, or rather, sort of prevented me from losing a lot of marks due to negative marking. So like, just remember, like, it's fine. It's better to make the mistake before a week before CLAT or something, and not CLAT exam.
One more question on a lot of people's minds, given that there are commerce and humanities students, is the quant part. Okay, how do we do quant if I'm not good at quant? So anybody here who's not good at quant, who's got low scores in quant? Yes, Rishabh. What kind of scores?
I always did bad. Like when closer to the exam, I got like 1, 2 in mocks, like that low. So yeah, how did I deal with it? I did R.S. Agarwal's book for competitive math. I worked on my basic math from the CL handbooks. In the end, so I got stuck with that question with the 105 percentage. So I only managed to get 5 out of that. They struck down 1, so I got 4. But the thing is, I'd say work on quant, especially if you're in your 11th grade, work on it even more. But if you're in your 12th grade, don't focus all your time that you have for CLAT prep on just math, because work on your strong sections. Because what happened to me, Tarun beat me in math by like, I think 6 or 7 marks in the actual CLAT paper. But because my other sections were strong, that's why I could do well. So that's the thing. So make sure your strong sections are very strong and work on your weak sections. Don't dedicate all your time working on a weak section, getting like +3 marks, and it won't be worth anything. But work on it, but don't, like, you understand.
Yeah, that's an important clarification, because sometimes you have been told that ignore the weak sections, right? Please don't make that mistake. I don't know, like, maybe someone is not clear about this point, but let me be very clear. Ignoring any section is not part of the strategy. Even if you hate that section, even if you struggle with that section, there's a minimum base mark which we need to hit. As I keep saying, your strong sections will get you the rank. You have to match the competition with your scores in every section. That's the important part, right? Thank you for that. So next set of questions, please.
On how many questions did you attempt in the actual CLAT as well as in the, let's say, the last few marks? Because I'm sure the question actually says, did you attempt all questions? I don't think anybody attempted all questions. But how many? And was it similar in the marks and the actual CLAT? Right, Panchami, we haven't heard from you for some time.
So I attempted 122 in the actual CLAT, and in mocks it was pretty much in the same range.
So mocks are close to the actual CLAT in terms of experience.
In mocks, I think Rishabh talked about patterns. So one of the pattern that I had observed, and even I talked to faculty about it, was that because I used to give a lot of time to reading, like, I observed that I couldn't focus while taking mocks, I observed that I couldn't focus at a stretch. So that helped me shuffle sections. And, you kind of analyze those things also. Like when you take mock, you need to keep a track of that, whether you're able to concentrate or, if timings is a problem, which for me it was personally. So I had to reshuffle and things like that. So that's like a bit to me.
One more question is when to start the mocks. Like if you started preparation a month back or 2 months back, is it okay to start mocks right now, or should we wait and cover more syllabus before we take the mocks, do more topic tests?
I think we used to take mocks. I used to take mocks right from the beginning. Like I used to not particularly wait that I'll cover this much, because you cannot really cover anything, there's no syllabus or something like that in that sense. But probably you could cover your basics in quant and a little bit in logic, and then you could start.
See if we can seal the answer here. What are the different sources? Where do we take from notes? A lot of questions. Is Manthan only enough? What about weekly, monthly? What other sources? So let's try and comprehensively answer this question.
I think while doing GK, Manthan 1.0 really helped in this time, like into CLAT 2021 paper. I mainly did it for ALET, but it helped in CLAT. It helps you to know about an event. It may not give you like a complete detailed thing, but it surely gives you that, this has happened. And another thing which helped me was visualizing it. Like suppose there's an issue about Afghanistan. So I would go and watch a video by BBC or Al Jazeera on it. And, so the visuals really help me remember, to know the history, to know the story about what happened. And also while reading like appointments, suppose, there's been a new prime minister in a country, I would go and see Google images, I would type and see his face. So that really helped me remember. So that also helped me remember the data about, the things they asked, like the theme of World Water Day and all that. So I went and saw the images of that while I was reading it. So that was just in my head. Like, the theme, what was that? Valuing water. So I think visualizing it helps to remember things for me.
Rakshit, anything to add?
So all I can say is there's no fixed source for GK. There's so much.
What are the sources that you used, for example, that would help?
So I used to do Manthan. That really helped, as already said, for ALET, but it came handy in for CLAT. But I think seeing the 21 paper, I think Manthan should be given importance, because a lot of minor issues were asked. Then I would also do News Canvas, just the daily events and event analyze tabs. I found I couldn't do more than that. Beyond that point, it was just saturation. So I think 2 or 3 sources are max. Like I wouldn't go beyond that because even if you go beyond that, you'll grasp some more, but it'll just tire you out.
How to prepare for critical reasoning? Okay, anybody is an expert on critical reasoning who wants to talk about it?
I think I can add one thing. I mean, not really prepare as a whole, but I wrote the LSAT exam. And I feel like the LSAT exam was really good at testing critical reasoning, especially verbal logic. And I had purchased the LSAT books as well, the LSAT India books, which came along with the exam as a bundle. And I felt like those really helped me. That was one thing, obviously one part of the entire preparation. So maybe if you're writing LSAT or interested in doing that, then that can be one good option. But apart from that, there are lots of materials available both on Career Launcher, both on Aspiration AI and other places. So I think the easiest way is just to do questions, sort of get used to the way they ask you, get used to the types of questions they ask you, like inference, strengthening, weakening, the type of passages that come, mean idea questions, other things like that, logical corollary. So understand the questions and understand how to eliminate answers, because there are lots of ways you can do it. Some options might be alien, extreme, other things like that, especially in the logical reasoning section that can help you arrive at the answer quickly. But otherwise, preparation-wise, I think it's just practice, like especially for critical reasoning. If you practice about 100, 150 questions, you're going to get good at it at a certain point. So I think, yeah, just practice and also maybe get some tips on how to eliminate and how to pick better answers over answers that don't sound very great.
Right. But just one thing I have to add about LSAT questions. So I really like the LSAT, but the thing is, don't get too attuned to LSAT questions. I'd say the CL mock questions are a way better source for your critical reasoning, simply because LSAT questions are perfect questions. You won't get perfect questions in the CLAT, right? So when you tune yourself to thinking in the LSAT method, it might not work for CLAT. That's the only issue. So the main source I'd say for your critical reasoning, at least like verbal, would be CL mocks. They're very good. They're like, there's so many you get, and it's almost enough. You can do some, like there are other sources online. Just Google critical reasoning, logical reasoning, and like I think there was some, I forgot what the source was, but like just find it online. But don't rely too much on perfect questions.
Sectional tests also. So mocks plus topic tests, sectional tests should be good. Yeah.
I think one thing Tarun in his modesty missed out is All India rank holder in LSAT also. I think that's an AR2 in LSAT. But yes, I think it's a good point actually. If you combine what Tarun and Rishabh have said, LSAT questions are perfect questions, but they help you get your basics right? But CLAT, I think again and again we keep saying, do not pick the question, pick the best of the choices. If you look at choice 2 and say, no, this is not perfect, but then look at choice 1, 3, 4 and say, okay, others are bad, so 2 is the best of the options. So always remember elimination and best of the given options. So in that sense, let me throw in a question that I've asked, I've kind of recommended very strongly for CLAT. Do you have 50-50 choices and do you go for that if you're not sure between 2 choices? And does it help?
Yeah, that's what I did. Like if I was relatively sure, not 50, I'd say like I was almost sure that it was, 50-50, I'd say I choose. Especially for GK, educated guesses are like a necessity. So after you do so much GK, your educated guesses are usually right. So for me, at least, like you can get at least 3 or 4 marks just by, it's not like you're just randomly guessing. You know, but you don't know, like that. 50-50 at a time.
Statistically speaking, is a good probability, right? Because if you get even 1 out of 2 wrong, and then you'll get 0.75. So it's a good statistical probability to keep in mind, and maybe a strategy that you can employ while writing mocks and see if it works for you.
Right. So typically, let's say we have 2 difficult questions in one passage in RC or CR. As long as you get the other 3 correct and 1 out of 2 in these 2, you still end up with a 3.75. So that's a pretty good score to look at. Okay, going to the next question. People want, okay, let's make this fun. Total number of mocks over the course of your preparation to the nearest number. round it off. Yeah. Who remembers?
Around like 60 to 70, maybe.
60 to 70. Okay. Of course, a corollary here is people who take more than one exam will tend to take more number of marks, because if you're preparing for 4 different exams, you will take more marks. But in general, so we have 60 to 70. Other numbers? Any rough number that you remember?
Like as you said, I didn't take the LSAT or the MLCT, so I think the CLAT marks, it was roughly 35. ALIT, I took all the marks, and SLAT, I took 5 marks. So I think roughly 15.
50. Okay. Was it 1 mock a week or more than that?
So initially it's 1 mock a week, because the schedule initially gives us 1 mock a week or 2 weeks, but later on when it comes down to like mock every 2 or 3 days, so I think later on it becomes more intense. 2 days, 3 days.
Okay.
So
Right.
one more point I just wanted to make out here. For some of you, because the mock strategy was not working, I also suggested that you take individual sections. So if you can talk a bit about that, like, in case your mocks are not working out, is that something which can, like, potentially help you improve, or what kind of lesson you can take from that approach? Yes, Urvi, if you would like to go first.
Yeah. So what really helped me was when the pattern was changed to the offline one. I was facing a lot of issues in time and in finishing the paper, and I'm someone who could do quant. So I was missing out on quant. I was losing 10 marks there, which I could have got if I had prioritized that. So what I did, sir, actually Animesh sir told me to do this. So he told me keep a timer, an open-ended timer, and do section wise, and try to find how much time you're taking for each section and write it down. And then I think I got like 5 minutes overtime. So try to find where the time has been extra. Usually it's either legal or reading comprehension most of the time, and try to prioritize that. So one thing that really helped me in the final CLAT exam was that I attempted GK and maths first, because both of these sections are the ones where I would either do the question or leave it. Even if the math question is easy, if it's taking a lot of calculation, then I would leave it and I would come back to it later if I had the time. So practicing mocks with the after analyzing your timings and your other circumstances really helps in the final paper. So yeah, the sectional wise timing really helped me.
Right. We have Swagat here. He had some other work to do, so he said he'll join in late. So he's come in.
Yeah, hello, sir. Sorry for joining late. I had some work. I guess, like, see, look, when you come to the important bit, okay, like at the end of the day, you have to work every day. Doesn't matter. You can have your off days. You can have it's fine. You have to work every day. I think that's what, at the end of the day, that's what matters, because even the paper, for example, it wasn't easy for us, For example, GK was one of my strongest sections, and then the paper was trash. So then I think a lot of us panicked, especially Tarun and I, and we made OMR mistakes as well in the first. I think I made 2 and even he made 2, I guess. So we lost 2.5 marks just there. So I think at the end of the day, practice, even bad day today, you have to practice, because then, because we practiced so much, we didn't bottle it, at the end of the day. Yeah, we lost marks. I mean, everyone goes through something or the other. But then it's that practice that ensured that we didn't bottle it. And the best way to practice is mocks, There's nothing like, oh, I have to do the full syllabus and then I'll do nothing. You have to start mocks like right now. I mean, you should have started before, but it's fine. You can start right now. You have to do mocks. Every single mock. Do the mock from 2 to 4, offline, analyze the paper. That's if you don't do that, doesn't matter. Like, you're not going to get anywhere. And it is hard work. You have to work every day, because if you think you can study in the end or something, you're either going to go to Jindal if you have the money, or you're going to go to Christ. That's the reality. Because even places like Symbiosis Pune, for example, at the end of the day, people who go to Symbiosis Pune are the ones who just missed out on CLAT, who might have got like rank 600 or something. So you have to work hard, day in and day out. You have to study. Yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing, Swagat. I think at CL Bangalore especially, we keep every time Christ announces its results early, we are worried that somebody might get motivated to, okay, I have it enough, let me settle for this kind of thing, right? So keep telling people, please don't settle. I'm not saying Christ is bad. I'm just saying that once you've given your 100%, then you take what you get. But don't stop preparation because you got something which is not exactly the best. Key, ours is one part. Like, how do you set targets? How many questions? How many concepts? How many passages will I cover? That kind of this thing. And do you track how much you've achieved in terms of output, not just the number of hours?
Right, sir. And just a small thing to add on to that, they can also talk about their strong areas and weak areas, because that's also a very common thing. So how do you identify your strong and weak area? And how do you plan for the strong area and the weak area, as sir said, right? What kind of strategy do you undertake? So if people can just take it up one by one.
So my strong area was English. So because I read a lot, I did not invest. I don't think I did anything for English actually, but quant was like the worst. And I tried a lot of things with quant, like Rishabh said, I did RS Agarwal, and I did one thing. Probably it'll help those who are not really good at quant. I did like 3 graph-based questions every day, mostly. I didn't miss out on that. So there were few things in my preparation which were constant. Like I used to have bad days, but I used to not miss out on newspapers. I used to not miss out on a little bit of GK revision every day. And I used to read 1 or 2 legal articles every day. So those were like basic things I used to do. Apart from that, I used to do sectional tests, topic tests, and analyzing mocks, giving mocks, and then GK, obviously, researching on topics, news canvas. So all of that used to happen, but newspaper revision, 1 or 2 graphs, those are the things I kept basic. So in terms of strong, English was my strong section. Logic I was good at it. GK was okay. GK required like consistent efforts. So I never classified it as strong or weak. It was like, as long as I'm doing, I'll be good at it. So it was mainly like that. Math, I tried to do my best, but the fact that I wasn't very good at it, I didn't put a lot of pressure on myself that you have to perfect it or something like that. I just tried my best to I think even in the final exam, I attempted 1 set and then half of another set. So that was it.
Okay. And in terms of time commitment, like, was there a specific plan that you would spend this much time on this area types for your prep?
So for GK, I think I never constrained any time. So it used to differ. There were some days where they're like important issues and you spend a lot of time in GK, but there's some days when it's dry. So there wasn't any time constraint of that sort. I tried to cover these basic things. So like articles and stuff like that, I used to cover those basic things, but I never gave like 40 minutes for legal today, 40 minutes for GK today. I didn't have that. I never had that.
Okay, sure. Thank you for that. Samrita, would you like to add on to anything?
But we have a lot of first year students who are, still Dilli Dur hai kind of students. Okay, so let's spend some time talking about what can be done in first year. I'm sure 7-8 hours is not required in first year. So what's the best way to get the fundamentals in place in the first year? Nivedita, you'd like to go? Not spoken for some time.
Yeah, so like what I did is that I figured out like in 12th grade, because I had to write my board exams that year. And like I finished my board exams the day the day before the lockdown was announced. So like, yeah, bad luck. Anyway, but the thing is that what we need to ensure is that the month, like from May to like around December, because in like January, February, you're completely going to be involved in, project submissions and, preparatory exams and all of that. So like, I knew I wouldn't have time to like really give time for CLAT at that point. So what I did was to strengthen my basics, and basics would mean I would do mostly topic tests and sectional tests. And but the thing again in that year was that the syllabus changed, the paper pattern changed in like December. So again, that was like a bit of a confusing thing. But again, I would suggest that whatever months you have before your preparatory exams start, try to solidify your basics. by doing topic tests and sectional tests, and maybe like 2 weeks once take a mock and see how much of you can actually perform under real test conditions.
How to manage your first year? Swagat?
So I'm going to be honest, first year I don't think we did much.
Okay.
But I guess, but the thing is, one thing though, I guess, because it didn't affect us that much, because of the fact that the pattern changed.
Yes.
Otherwise, I think we would have definitely suffered. There's no doubt about that. Because, so we were lucky on that front. But yeah, I guess first year, I mean, the thing is, we definitely did gain something from the first year because we regularly attended class. That's what we did. So some of the basic understanding in legal and critical reasoning and stuff like that, like the fundamentals was laid in class, Animesh first class or any other class basically. That's the one thing that we did regularly in the first year. I mean, I would say in hindsight, especially after the pattern change and so on, if you're in the first year, if you start doing mocks right now, then great. I mean, you're definitely going to be a much better place because when I did my first mock in the first pattern, I got like 55 or something, and then towards the end, I mean, the paper, I almost ended up doubling it. So I guess that's the type of shift or change that happened. So yeah, if you can start doing your mocks now and regularly attend class now. Like I get that some classes, for example, you might think that, oh, you already know this, etc. But I guess if you can start doing that picking and choosing and, for example, there's a topic that you really, really well, and in the class it might seem like a bit of a waste for you, and you think you can use that time productively somewhere else. You can start doing that from your second year towards the end, I guess. Otherwise, in the first year and a half, for example, 100% attend every single class. Because the basics are they're laid in class basically. So yeah, attend class regularly if you're starting out now, do mocks as well, and I guess start doing GK as well now. Not because the GK might be like relevant, it might as well, because like at the end of the day, a lot of the issues are like repeated over and over again. For example, we study JCPOA. I'm pretty sure the next batch will do it, and the batch again as well. So if you have a prior understanding of these issues, it helps. Plus, I think you figure out how to do GK. That's the important bit. It's not just starting out GK because you'll find. I guess we sorted out a GK only like January-ish, where we like properly figure out, okay, this is what I need to do. These are the sources. This is how I'm going to do it. These are where I'm going to make my notes, etc. So if you start early, you have that advantage as well. You can play around and I guess experiment a bit to figure out which are the right sources, where you need to focus on, and so on. So even GK, start now. There's nothing wrong. What you learn now will help you later on, whether it be ASP, class, addition, all these things will keep getting repeated year in and year in and year out. So yeah, if you start now, it's good. So yeah, mocks and GK especially, and classes.
So one more question which a lot of people are asking, and if you guys can quickly share about the sequence in which you finally settled. Because as I've mentioned before, there is no one sequence for everyone, right? Everyone tends to follow a particular logic and they go by their own sequence. So if everyone just can quickly, run us through their sequence for the final paper. Tarun, Purvi, whichever person.
So I had this sort of so-called strategy that I had. I felt like I divided the paper into two categories really, reading and non-reading. So for me, logic, English, and legal were reading sections, and quant and GK were largely non-reading sections. So I just wanted to figure out a way in which I can get, say, a section break between two reading sections. So I did legal first, and then I did GK, and then I did logic, quant, and finally English. So I just did one reading section, one non-reading, one reading, and so forth. So I think that helped me in the sense that it wasn't constantly reading long passages one after another, and you get a little bit of a break in between in terms of just solving GK questions or doing a little bit of math. So it worked for me personally, and I would suggest it to anyone. But I did legal first because it's my strongest section, and Animesh sir himself had told me to start with my strongest section, which was legal, and that's how I finalized on my pattern in which I read the paper.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that, Tarun. Urvi?
Yeah, so the pattern that I followed was I started with GK, then I went on to maths, and then legal, reading comprehension, and then reasoning. So, no, I'm sorry, it was GK, maths, logical reasoning, and then I went to legal, and then I switched it to reading comprehension, and then went back to legal again. So I'll explain this. So I started with GK and then maths, because both of these sections are either I'm doing it or I'm not doing it. I didn't have to spend a lot of time on every question. I left a lot of GK questions which I didn't know. And same for maths. I mean, maths, some of the questions were easy, so I did them. But even if something there was the last set, it looked lengthy, so I just left it. So I wanted to finish like this math and GK in the first half an hour to 35 minutes. And I did it in around half an hour. And then I went to logical reasoning, and that's one of my strongest sections. And I did that quickly. And after going to legal, I realized that it was kind of lengthy, and I was kind of, I wasn't able to read and understand. So I went to reading comprehension and then came back to legal. And I think another thing I want to add is that prioritizing your strengths is very important here, because I had the last set of maths left and I had 2 sets of legal left, and I had around 5 minutes, the last 5 minutes. So I thought maths it will take time, even though it is an easier section for me. So I decided to go with legal, and that worked out well. So I think after you practice a lot of mocks and with different strategies, you will figure out what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses, and you will figure out how much time you want to allocate on everything. So I think practicing mocks is very important for the order and the time.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for that, Urvi. Samrita?
Yeah, so I had a similar strategy to Tarun actually, with the reading and the non-reading, because I felt like it was very important to give like a small break, considering especially the legal passages were really I wouldn't say complex, but it was a little taxing on certain people in our paper. So so that was a strategy I followed, and that was also something I actually picked up with Rahul sir in that one-on-one session, where he had analyzed my mock scores and told me, because I wasn't doing really well in English, it started dropping a bit towards the end. The reason sir told me and I realized was I wasn't giving enough time to English. So the idea was I did legal first, I did GK second, because GK was very quick. It was either you know it, you don't know it, or you make a guess and you're done with it. You're not going to go back and keep thinking about those questions. Then there was I did logical, and then I moved to math, and I made sure I kept myself within that time frame for math, so I could finish English in time. So I put English towards the end because it was a weak section that I'd started losing marks at, but it worked for me in the exam. I think I comfortably finished English and was able to go through 1 or 2 more questions in math. So the strategy worked for me, and I think it was helpful. So.
Okay. Thank you for that, Samrita. Nivedita.
So sir, like the first thing is that I didn't really do it because of it, but the way I attempted my paper was exactly in the way the CLAT paper comes, right? It's English, GK, legal, logical, and quantitative. The main reason why I did that is because start off with my strongest section, which is English. Then I go on to GK. GK is very, it's not very time consuming. It takes like maximum like 7 minutes to complete the whole of GK. So what I did was that 20 minutes I would take English, then around 5 minutes GK. So eventually, like at the end of half an hour, I would see that I have completed 2 sections. And that sort of really encourages you to go through the next 3 sections, right? Because you've completed 2 whole sections now. And so like, that's a good thing. Then I would move on to legal reasoning, mainly because even though legal reasoning was, I was quite good at legal reasoning, I didn't attempt it in the beginning because it's really daunting to go through like 6-7 passages and, think about it. I felt it's really daunting. So I kept it right in the middle, right? And what I would do is that at times I wouldn't be able to complete all the legal reasoning passages. Some of them might have been kind of difficult and complex to understand. So I would leave that, and then I would move on to logical. And then finally, I would go on to quantitative aptitude. Quantitative aptitude, it's not my strongest point. My marks used to vary a lot, and I stopped. I didn't want to stress myself too much about it by attempting it before my other better sections. So I would keep it towards the end, attempt how much ever I could. And then I would go back to my legal reasoning, go through the questions or the passages that I had left out. And then if I would usually have around like 10 minutes left by that time. And it was in that 10 minutes gap that I would finish my legal, my quantitative aptitude. If there were any questions that I somehow felt I could attempt it, I would go to those questions, or I would finish the other questions that I had left in other sections. So that's how I divided my time.
Right. Thank you for that. Panchami.
So I did English first, and then I did GK, then I did legal, then I did logic, and then to the last math. So
Okay.
I think I messed up a lot, like due to the fact that I wasn't finishing on time. I tried everything, and finally I came to like the most basic one.
Okay. Thank you for that. So I think that very clearly illustrates the point that there is no one combination which will work for everyone. Everyone opened with different passages and different areas, closed with different sections, but everyone followed the same logic, which we always follow. You start with a strong section, you close with something which is either a weak section or you can do well under pressure, right? Something where you can afford to lose some marks. That's the idea, right? Okay. So
one small point to add here is, look, 50, 60, 70 marks is what they have taken, right? So if you're not sure about what strategy to follow, by all means experiment. You have lots and lots of marks to experiment. Try different strategies, see what works for you, right? A particular strategy might work best for you. It may not, and your friend might find some other strategy that works best for them. So absolutely be prepared to experiment. At least, except for the last 10, 15 marks, I think you can experiment in any mark. Last 10, 15 marks, we'd like you to just stick to what works. But in the initial marks, a lot of experimentation is possible.
Right, sir. Now, just building on to that, I was just hoping that everyone can also share a couple of pointers regarding what did not work out for them. Like, when they were preparing, they figured out, okay, so this is the wrong way to go about it, or this is something which, you were not clear about, and then you rectified it later, which worked out well for you. At least a couple of points like that, if everyone can share, that would be great, I suppose. Whichever way, anyone who would like to go first?
So while during my preparation, I remember I used to text you anime sir a lot, and then I used to ask him, will this topic come, sir? Like, what is the probability? So that is something a lot of us had, that we used to like see something in the newspaper and we used to think, will consortium ask this, or like, will this turn up in the paper? But as I continued my prep, I realized that's not really the question. So don't spend a lot of time thinking if the, probability and stuff like that, thinking whether this will turn up or not, should I do this or not. So just try and cover as much as you can, and some important things just don't leave, like Israel-Palestine conflict, that was very important for us. So things like that, important topics you have to cover, and don't spend a lot of time thinking whether it'll come or not. That's a waste of time and resources. That's what I realized.
Right, I think that's an excellent point. Yeah.
I think when I was when I started our preparation, at least, GK was something that, even on News Canvas or Manthan or whatever, I'd just read and maybe revise at the end of the month or whatever. But it wasn't something that was long lasting, right? I wouldn't remember it for a long period of time. So what I started doing, that was something I realized I should stop. I mean, I did realize that back in Feb, but so what I started doing instead was making so out of the month events that we did, pick out the most important ones, write and really make good notes on those. And didn't have to be like, paragraph notes, but, questions, how you would expect questions to be, like maybe a date, maybe a name, maybe the name of the program or whatever, those basic keywords, and just note those down. That really helped in GK preparation at the later stage when you're revising, because when you go back to reading those same 8-page, 10-page articles, you get lost in a lot of unnecessary things. So that was something that helped my GK preparation, at least towards the end, the last week.
Right. Thank you for that. If there are any other responses, sir, any other question then?
I think broadly we are okay. I think people, a couple of questions on, were you able to maintain extracurriculars on the side or did they get affected? And questions whether MUN and debate, did they help? Anybody? I think we have a lot of people who did.
I can maybe talk a little bit about that. So I play basketball and I didn't stop playing basketball in the past 1 year when I was preparing for CLAT. So that was one way I could at least meet some friends because otherwise we are all stuck at home. We're not able to meet our friends either at school or at coaching or anywhere. So that was one way I could meet my friends. I think that definitely sort of helped me get rid of some amount of stress or just have some fun during the day. And otherwise, extracurricular activities in 11th grade, I did a couple of debates. In 12th grade, I did debates online. I don't really think they took away from prep. If anything, they just give you a sort of break from the things that you're doing on a daily basis. So I don't think they really affect you. I don't think they really help you in the sense that it will give you more number of marks in the exam. That's just not going to happen. So it's great to take a break and do something you like. If not on a daily basis, then something like a debate or something on a monthly, like once in a month or once in 2 months or something. So I wouldn't say give up all your hobbies and all your like leisurely activities that you do in a day, because that's not good for your mental health and it's not going to benefit you even in the long run, because this is after all a 1 year journey or 2 year journey. So yeah.
Okay, that's great. In fact, I'll just add one point. Some sacrifice is required, right? Otherwise, how will you find the time? Now, the question is, find the things that you do, which you don't really care for, but you still do them. Like, just binge watching on some web series, which is not even that great. Okay, I'm not saying great web series. You find something really good, then do watch it. But I think the keystone is, if there's something that you really enjoy, don't give it up. But a lot of things that we do in our life, which are like average stuff, we won't really miss them if you cut them out, right? So if somebody really has a passion, like it could be basketball, it could be watching something, or it could be playing a piano or a guitar, don't break that. You don't have to throw away things that you really like. But there are a lot of time that gets spent almost, we don't know where it goes. Those are the activities that can get cut. Social media, definitely, as Uravi pointed out, it can just take up a huge amount of time. Do real debates, don't do Twitter debates with anybody or Facebook debates with anybody.
Right, sir. See, I think right? There was one question which I wanted them to answer from my side as well. Now that you guys are at this stage, which is that one thing which you're looking forward to, right? Which is the immediate thing which is like, on your mind as far as this journey is concerned. If everyone can just take it one by one. Yeah, any order. Yeah.
Hostels, like collectively our batch is just looking forward for the campus to be open. I think it's across the spectrum. Everyone's like very tired of online stuff. So we're looking forward for campus life. So, or I'm looking forward. I don't know about the other.
No, as in it's an amazing part, and you should start like drafting that petition now. Then like it's time to move to the Supreme Court. Like open these campuses types.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, same. I am also looking forward to going on campus. Recently, we got a mail that they're opening the library. So I was thinking one day I'll just go in the morning, attend my classes there, and just spend the whole day there.
Yeah. You will find a lot of people there. It's an amazing library. Let's see. Then, anyone else?
I think I mean, the campus as a whole, like it's very green. It's very nice. It's a huge campus. Lots of things to do. Sports. Lots of like committees and stuff like that. Lots of co-curricular activities on campus, and obviously the library. I really want to visit the library and check out what's there. But about just the campus in general, I think is really beautiful. I'm hoping to get to go on to campus sometime soon and just see and just take in everything.
So thank you so much, and I'm sure on behalf of all the 22, 23 students, it's been a great session. Thank you very much. And last words, Animesh.
Yeah, so very important points shared by all of you. So first of all, thank you for taking out the time and guiding these juniors. I'm very happy for you guys. You have done yourself proud. Your parents are quite proud, and we are all quite proud of your achievement, right? As now you will start the bigger journey. So there will be bigger challenges, but I think you guys are in an excellent position to handle it. Right now, you should celebrate, work on your basics, and keep doing well. Excellent job. Thank you and congratulations.
Okay. Thank you. Good night. And don't forget to have fun.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the session.
Thank you, sir. And good luck to everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, all the best, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.